Hello guys, it's Joanne here. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time stumbling on this channel, you're very welcome. Please click on the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on your notification bell for more videos. And for my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back here and always coming back to my channel. I see the show of love. Thank you guys, I really appreciate. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut and sew this underbust corset you're seeing here. Now this is going to be a very detailed tutorial. If you don't want to miss anything, please don't skip any part. Watch this video to the end if you're interested in something like this so that you can learn. And guys, let's get right into the tutorial. So this is the fabric I'm going to be working with. This is a corset mesh. You can also use any fabric of your choice for this. It must necessarily be this one. So I got this for I think 1.5 yard. So I'm going to be using this to pipe and also to run my boning channel. This other fabric you're seeing here is actually a doll face fabric because the fabric my client is going to be using to wear this is going to be ash color. Okay, so this is the boning I'm going to be working with. That's half inch, and this rubber boning here um is less than half inch. Okay, so I'm going to also use this cross grain ribbon to snatch the waistline. Now this is a pattern paper which I've already drawn out the start point line. So from that line I'm going to start taking the necessary measurement. Please note that for this measurement which we'll be using, we are not going to be making use of the bust line, but anyways, I'm going to just start here with the bust line. So I'm labeling this line here as the bust line, okay? Just to serve as a guide for you or not to confuse you guys. So from that point there, I placed the bust point line, okay, the bust point measurement on that line, okay, so that is a bust line, all right, although we are not going to be using that line, and I'm coming down by the under bust line, okay. So place your bust point line from the start point line which you're seeing there or which you're going to be creating and come down by the under bust measurement. So if you don't want to go through all of this, you can just start with marking your under bust measurement, okay. So from that point again, from the start point line there again, I'm going to come down by the waistline. So the waistline I am using for this tutorial is 18 inches, okay. So I'm marking the 18 inches for the waistline. I'll do the same thing for this other part so that I can get a straight line. Now I'm going to take my ruler and square this line up, all right. So this line now is the waistline, okay. The first line was the bust point line which we don't need. The second one was the under bust line, and the third line was the waistline, okay. So the next line now I'm going to be taking will be the length of the corset. So for you, you want to measure from where you have your under bust down to your tummy, just to have a perfect measurement. Sit down and take that measurement so that you feel comfortable after making it, okay. We are going to be attaching bone into it, so you don't feel uncomfortable when you sit. So the goal is for you to be able to sit after making this. I hope you understand. So I got the length, and which I also square up the line, and I also labeled that part as the corset length. Now next thing I'm going to do will be to start taking the horizontal measurement after getting this vertical measurement, okay. And also note that the aim of you sewing this is to be able to tuck your tummy in. So you have to take the right measurements, okay, the right length of your corset so that it can pack your tummy. Some people have lower tummy, so that if you have a lower tummy, take note of that. Take your measurements. Now the next thing I'm going to do now after taking these vertical measurements is to begin taking the measurement across the body. Now on the under bust line, I'm going to be taking the under bust measurement, under bust circumference. Now take that measure, divide your under bust circumference. After dividing that measurement, take out 1 inch from that measurement. Hope you're clear. Okay, so the aim here is for it to be tight. Although we are going to take out some pads on the back part. All right, take out some inches on the back part, but for this front, divide your under bust measurement, and after dividing your under bust measurement by 4, take out 1 inch from that measurement. Now on the waistline, it's either you're going to be snatching your waist by 3 or you're going to be snatching by 2. For this tutorial, I'm going to be snatching by just 2. Alright, so I'm going to snatch by 2. Remove 2 inches from your measurement before you go ahead to divide whatever you have left. For instance, if your waist is 30, remove 2 inches, which will be 28. Now divide 28 by 4 to get your waist for this tutorial, for this what we are cutting here. Okay, now for the hip line, where you have the length of your corset, after taking your measurement, measure around the length of your corset on your body. Hope you understand. Measure to get the actual length of your corset, actual circumference on the length of your corset. Hope I'm not confusing you guys. So I measured that part, but if you could not measure that part, just use your hip measurement, but subtract like 1 inch from your hip measurement. Okay, now you're going to take your cuff rule and slide cuff and connect from the hip line or your corset length to the waistline, and also do the same thing for from the waistline to the underbust. Okay, now I have gotten the shape that I want. Next thing I'm going to be doing would be to come here on this hip line and take a few inches away from that point. I did like 0.4 inches, or can do 0.5. Okay, from that part. Then I'm going to come here on this center line. Okay, this top part here, the center front, I'm going to be going up by like ½ inch. Okay, so you can go up by like ½ inch or 1 inch from that part, and I'm going to be using my slide curve to connect this back to the side. Okay, to connect this back to the side front. Okay, this is just to give you some shape around the underbust area, but this is quite optional. If you don't want to do this part, you can as well skip it. This is optional. I just want to have this kind of shape around the underbust line. Now once I was done with that, I am going to start creating the style line. So what I'm about to do here is that I'm going to come here to the hip line. I'm going to start creating the style line. So from the center line, from the center front on the hip line, you can go in by 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Okay, so you can go in by 1 inch or 1.5 inches. Then from there, you start creating your style line. You're going to create it in such a way that you've seen how I placed the ruler. I didn't place it straight, so I slanted it a bit, as you can see. So from that point there, I am going to also mark. I just used this top part instead, so that since the top part is smaller than the down part, so this from here I just divided what I had left by 3. Okay, and I simply drew out the style line, making sure that the line is slanted. Hope you understand. So don't make the line straight. As you guys can see here, I have about three style lines, which I'm going to be using that as for my boning line. So go ahead and label your patterns. Okay, now I'm labeling this as the center front. Just label whatever you like. Okay, label anyhow you can understand, and also label the top parts. So indicate the top parts so that after cutting it out, you don't mix it up. You don't use the down part for the top part. Hope you get what I mean. Now after this, I'm going to come back here on this length here, and I'm going to come down by ½ of an inch. I'm going to simply style this, this waistline, like the length of this corset, like this, just to give it a little bit of backs around that part. Okay, around the hip line. Now after doing this, you've seen what I did here. I just connected it back to the side front. So this is basically it for the front part, and I am going to start cutting this out. Now extend this line you have here to meet to the little adjustments you made on the down part. Once I was through with that, I'm going to go ahead to start cutting this excess pattern paper which I don't need. Okay, now after that, I'm going to go ahead now to draft the back part. I'm going to bring another pattern paper for the back part and simply use the front to trace out the back part. All right, so you don't have to go through the stress of drafting the back part. Just use the front like this. Place the front on the back pattern paper and trace out the side, the upper part and the down part. So after tracing this out, I'm going to start the measurement from the side. Okay, so begin the measurement from the side on this back part. Now on the underbust, take your underbust circumference, divide that measurement by 4. This time, don't subtract anything from your underbust. Now on the waistline, do the same thing you did for the front. Subtract either 2 or 3 inches, which you're using to snatch, and divide the rest of the measurement by 4 and indicate. After that, add 1 inch for that. Okay, now on the corset length, do the same thing you did for the front. Divide your hip measurement by 4 and impute. Okay, now I'm going to be adding 1 inch as that on the underbust because I'm going to be extending the dart to the underbust. Hope you understand. So I simply connected this line into a straight line. And after that, you've noticed the allowance we have, the added inches we have on the length, which I just took notice of, which is 1 inch. So I'm going to bear that in mind that I have 1 inch. So when I'm drafting the darts, I'm going to be taking note of that. Now I'm taking away the backs design I did for the down part on this back part. We don't need it. Also for this top part, the one we did for the underbust, this design we did for the underbust, I'm taking that away for the front. I'm taking it away on the back part. We don't actually need it for this back part. Now I'm going to square up this line on the waistline. Okay, after doing that, I'm going to go ahead now to take out like 1.5 inches. You can also, I'm taking out 2 inches, sorry, so you can do 1.5 inches. Now on this down part, I took out half inch. I'm going to take that away, which we don't actually need that part. No, this is going to be, there's going to be a lacing at the back, so you don't need that part. Now for this one here, I'm going to simply mark the lacing bar, which is 1.5 inches. So the reason I'm marking 1.5 inches is that I'm supposed to have 3 boning here, but instead of having 3, I'll have 2 and use the other half on the middle part for the eyelet. Hope you understand. Now after doing that, start creating your style line for your dart intake. Don't forget that the dart allowance we have for both the top part, the waistline and the down part is 1 inch. So I went ahead to create 2 style line for this back, and I'm going to be, that 1 inch, I'm going to be dividing that measurement, that 1 inch. So I'm going to be sharing it to use as that. Okay, so mark 0.25 on both sides, 0.25 on one line. You mark 0.25 on both sides, that will be half inch, right? Then on the other line, mark 0.25 on both sides, that will be half inch, making it a total of 1 inch. So in other words, you've used your dart allowance. Hope you understand. So I marked this all the way to the top part and the down part, since I added dart intake for the upper part, and I have extra 1 inch on the lower part. So that's why I extended this dart intake all the way down. Now if you don't want to go through this stress of darting your back, you don't have to. Just don't add your dart allowance. I hope you understand. So I shaded that part to remind me to cut it out. Now I'm going to label this back part as well. Label each of your panels. You don't want to be confused. Okay, now label the top part as well. Anything to let you know, to serve as a guide for you, you have to label your panels. Now cut out these panels, cut out your darts, and next thing I'm going to do now, after cutting this, I'm going to use all these ones here that I'm cutting out to cut on my fabric. Okay, I'll do that, cut on my fabric off camera, and I'm going to show you guys how we are going to be stitching this. Now I have cut this on my fabric. For this center front, I cut on fold. The down part I added 1 inch. Okay, so the side I added ½ inch, top part ½ inch. Now I did the same thing for this top, all the panels. That's what I did. I added ½ inch for the top part to the side, but the down part I added 1 inch. Okay, so I did the same thing for the front, and as well I did the same thing for the back. So but for this back here where I have the lacing bar, I did not add any allowance to that measurement, to that lacing bar. I didn't add any allowance, as you guys can see, but I added to the top part and the side, which I'm going to be using to join to other panels. Now I'm going to start joining each of these panels. Okay, so for some reason I cut this center front on fold. I didn't have any reason to, but I just decided to cut the center front too. Okay, so I'm going to start joining. Please ensure you follow your patterns. As you can see, I had to just mark on the fabric where indicate the top part on the fabric. Guys, I didn't want to mix this up, so do the same thing for other parts and start joining each of these panels. Don't be confused about anything. So once I join, I'm going to take to the sewing machine and I'm going to be stitching by ½ inch allowance. Okay, stitch by the allowance you have. You don't necessarily need to add too much allowance to your fabric. Okay, this is a corset. We are going to be trimming out the excess allowance anyway, so you don't need to add too much allowance to it. Just add only ½ inch. So go ahead to pin your panels and join them very well. Indicate the top part, indicate the down part if possible, and stitch by just ½ inch. Now after I pin this is what I have. So I'm going to take to the sewing machine. I'm going to be sewing by just ½ inch. I'll do the same thing for the back parts and I'll show you guys. Now after stitching, this is exactly what I have here. Guys, if you notice, I trimmed out the excess allowance I have after I joined this. So go ahead to trim out the excess allowance you have. And also note that the part which we stitch is going to be the front. Okay, the part which we stitch and trimmed out the allowance is going to be the front. Now I also use the front part to cut out two more fabrics for the front, which I'm going to be using to cover up the boning. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm going to be using this for the front parts. And for the back part, I didn't have enough fabric to go out to work with. I cut out 1 each for the back part. Okay, it's supposed to be 2 as well, right? So I cut out 1 each since I didn't have enough fabric to go around. Now the next thing I'll do would be to start creating the boning channel. So this is what I'm going to be using as my boning channel. This is 1.5 inches. If you fold this, it's going to be 0.75. So measure from the top part to the down part of your corset and to know the length before you head on to cutting out your boning channel. Once you do that, you're going to be fold this by 0.25. Okay, sew this by 0.25. After sewing, bring out the right side and insert your boning inside. Once you do that, we are going to be having your boning channel already fixed, and I'm going to show you guys what next to do. So I have created the boning channel. I've inserted the boning here, and I went ahead to iron this flat to be straight. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine, and I'm going to be sewing this. This is how I'm going to be sewing this, okay, just to show you guys. So I'll place one on the center line. I'll place on each of the lines I have here, okay, each of the joining lines I have here. I'm going to be placing this boning like this. So this is how you're going to be placing it. Before you do that, please, I'm going to show you guys how to place your gross grain ribbon before you head on to stitching your boning to your corset. Okay, so guys, that's how you're going to be doing it. I'm going to place the gross grain ribbon and show you guys. So I have placed the gross grain ribbon. This is what I have here. Just place it on your waistline, okay, mark from your waistline and place the gross grain ribbon, okay. Indicate where you have your waistline. From there, place your gross grain ribbon. Hope you understand. Now use your pin to secure it, then head on to sewing your boning channel. So when you've sewn your boning channel, it means automatically you've sewn in your gross grain ribbon. It will help place your gross grain ribbon right. Hope you understand. So after sewing the boning channel, this is exactly what I have, and this is looking very beautiful. As you guys can see here, I've sewn for both the front and the back parts. Now I'm going to use this already cut out fabric for the front to cover up the front parts and also cover up the back parts. Okay, so use your cut out fabric and cover up this boning channel. Now this is very optional. If you don't have excess fabric to go around with, you can as well skip that part. But just to make it, more, just to cover up the boning lines, I had to cover up this with this fabric here. Okay, go ahead to secure with your pin and take to your sewing machine and sew by to press it down, sew by 0.25. Do the same thing for the back part, and I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to join the side and show you guys. So I've joined the side, guys. This is what this looks like. As you guys can see, this is already looking very beautiful and clean. Now I'm going to cut out this excess fabric I have after joining the side. I joined the side by 1/2 inch. That was the allowance I kept while cutting on my fabric. So do the same thing. So I'm cutting out the excess fabric I have on the side. We don't need excess fabric. Okay, so cut out the excess fabric. For this side, I'm going to also attach boning to it. Hope you understand. So I'm going to attach boning to this side here. Now this is the boning I'm going to be attaching. I've already covered this up with this fabric I have here, as you guys can see, but I'm going to show you guys how to cover this up. I did not use the other method I used to cover up the boning. So I'm going to show you guys how you're going to be covering up this one here. Okay, since this is going to be on the outer part. Now this is the fabric I'm going to be using. You're going to cut your fabric in excess. Okay, first measure from the top of your corset to the length to know the allowance you have, and still add like 2 inches extra allowance to whatever you have. Okay, now after that, you're going to place your boning like this. Leave some inches on the top part and on the down part, since your boning is not going to get to the top part and the down part. Take to your sewing machine and sew a little, that part which we have on the regular line boning, for which is always used for stitching. Sew on that line. Then after sewing, this is what I have here. I'm going to begin wrapping this. Okay, just wrap this up in such a way that the boning doesn't show. Okay, wrap it in such a way that you don't see the white boning there. I don't know if you're going to be using black color, but wrap it in such a way that you don't see the boning inside. So after wrapping, I was satisfied with what I had to use my pin to just secure it. Okay, so secure with your pin. Just as you secure with your pin, ensure you wrap it very tight. You don't want to have a loose to wrap. All right, so after that, you're going to be placing it. See the way it is curvy. So place the curvy part. Okay, just watch what I'm going to be doing. Place the part that is curvy on the fabric. Hope you clear, so that it flows through the side your shape when you're wearing it. So you don't really need to iron this one. Just place it the way it is. Okay, so when you're folding it, ensure that you tuck in the remaining allowance you have left, the remaining fabric you have left. This is how you're going to place it. Have you guys, if, as you guys can see, so just place it this way and stitch. Okay, stitch a little bit from the two on the two sides of the boning. So I was done stitching, guys. I'm cutting out the excess fabric on the top part, and I've cut out the excess fabric on the down part. Have you guys seen how this look? This is looking very beautiful. Now this is how the boning is. I've covered the boning, as you guys can see. Now the next thing I'm going to do would be to create the lacing bar for the back. Now this is the boning I'm also going to be using, and the lacing bar, I cut it on fold. On fold I cut 2.5 inches. No, the boning we are going to be having is supposed to be 3, but I'm not going to be inserting the second one. I'm going to leave the second one for the underwire. So I'm going to only insert 2. So I'll leave the space. Did I say underwire? Sorry guys, eyelets. So I'm going to leave a space for the eyelet. So cut this on fold, that's 2.5 inches. So you're going to fold in half inch on both sides, leaving you with 1.5 inches. That will be for your boning. Now place this like this, okay? Put in the main fabric. As you guys can see the way I did, place your main fabric inside this cut out lacing bar. As you guys can see, when you cut it on fold, ensure you iron it so that you know your center line on the lacing bar. Now place your boning like this, leaving half inch on the top part and half inch on the down part. You don't want your boning to get to the top part and the down part. Then place it like this, as you guys see, and sew on both sides just to press it down. Now after that, you're going to go ahead to measure up half inch. Okay, from this part, from this boning, measure half inch, and from that point mark and place the second boning. Have you guys seen what I just did there? When you place your second boning, you're going to sew it down. I've sewn it down and I have already covered this up on one side. For the other part, I didn't cover it up. I'm going to be showing you guys. So this is what I have for this other part. I left this to show you guys. So after attaching the boning, this is what I have, and this is how it looks on the wrong side. Now I'm going to simply use this to cover this up. Okay, so on the edge of this lacing bar. All right, once you've sewn on the edge of the lacing bar, turn to the wrong side and sew on each of the lines you have on your lacing bar so that the line can appear also on the front part. Once you've finished with that, go ahead to pipe the down part and the up part. I'll do that and show you guys. Now I am finished with that. Sorry, don't pipe the down part yet. Pipe only the upper parts if you're adding rubber boning to it. But if you're not adding rubber boning to it, just pipe the up part and the down part. So I'm inserting the rubber boning now. Okay, so insert your rubber boning, and once you've inserted it, leave half inch on the down part, which you're going to be, you're going to be closing the down part. So leave half inch on the down part. So take your time to insert your rubber boning. So after I was done inserting this one, I had to cut it out, and I'm still going to use my scissors to push the remaining one inside and leave half inch on the down part. So while inserting your rubber boning, use your hand to be feeling the top part. Once it gets to this top part, you're going to cut it out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and pipe the down parts. I have piped the down part, and guys, this is what I have here. So guys, this is looking very, very beautiful. Please don't forget to like this video, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And guys, please, there's this ads, there are ads that usually pop up on your screen whenever you're watching my videos. Please don't skip the ads. Help me promote. It will help my promote my channel if you don't skip the ads, and I will make little sense from that. Thank you so much for watching this video and for being here. Comments, drop a comment in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this video, if you like it. Thank you so much. See you in my next one.